I hired a private investigator to follow my husband because I was convinced he was cheating on me. The late nights at work, the secret phone calls, the unexplained cash withdrawals, every sign was there. But when the investigator called me at 2 a.m. and said, "Mrs. Palmer, we need to meet. Right now. And you need to bring a lawyer," I knew I'd been wrong. My husband wasn't having an affair. He was hiding something so much darker. Something so dangerous that by the time I discovered the truth, 3 people were dead. My family was in witness protection, and I was sitting across from FBI agents learning that the man I'd been married to for 12 years wasn't who I thought he was at all. Before I tell you how a simple infidelity investigation turned into a federal case that destroyed my entire life, hit that subscribe button for Story Matrix Hub and turn on notifications. Because this story goes places you absolutely will not believe, and I promise you, every single word is true. Now let me take you back to 4 months ago, when I still thought my biggest problem was a cheating husband. My name is Lauren Palmer, and 4 months ago, I had what I thought was a perfect marriage. I'm 34 years old, living in Charlotte, North Carolina. I work as a pediatric nurse. My husband, Derek Palmer, is 36, works in finance, or so I thought. We have 2 kids, Sophie, age 9, and Mason, age 6. Nice house in the suburbs. 2 cars. Annual family vacation to the beach. From the outside, we were the American dream. But for the past 6 months, something had been wrong. Very wrong. It started with Derek's work schedule. He'd always worked long hours. Finance is demanding, I get it. But suddenly, he was working late 3-4 nights a week. Coming home at 10 p.m., sometimes midnight. "Big project," he'd say. "We're closing a major deal. Just a few more weeks." But the few weeks turned into months. Then there were the phone calls. Derek would get a call, glance at the screen, and immediately leave the room to answer it. "Work call," he'd mouth, pointing at his phone. Then he'd go to the garage or the backyard or our bedroom with the door closed. When I asked who it was, he'd give vague answers. "Client. Boss. Conference call." But something about the way he said it felt off. The biggest red flag was the money. We have a joint checking account. We've always been transparent about finances. But I started noticing cash withdrawals. $500 here. $800 there. Sometimes $1,000 at a time. Over 3 months, Derek had withdrawn nearly $15,000 in cash. When I asked about it, he got defensive. "Why are you tracking my spending?" "I'm not tracking it. I just noticed large withdrawals." "What do you need that much cash for?" "Business expenses. Some clients prefer cash transactions." "What clients?" "For what?" "Lauren, I don't interrogate you about every dollar you spend. That's different. I'm not taking out thousands in cash. Can we not do this right now? I'm exhausted." He'd shut down the conversation every time. Then there was his appearance. Derek had always been a jeans and polo shirt guy. Casual. But suddenly he was dressing better. New suits. Expensive cologne. He'd started going to the gym 4 times a week. "You're looking good," I told him one morning. "Working out is paying off." "Thanks. Just trying to stay healthy." But there was something in his eyes. Guilt. Fear. I couldn't tell. I tried to convince myself I was being paranoid. Derek had never given me a reason to doubt him. He was a good husband, a good father. We didn't fight. We had a solid marriage. But all the signs were there. The classic signs of an affair. Late nights. Secret calls. Unexplained money. Improved appearance. Emotional distance. I confided in my best friend, Rachel. "It sounds like he's cheating," she said gently. "I'm sorry, Lauren. But you need to know for sure." "How?" "I can't just follow him. I have to work. I have the kids. Hire a private investigator." I'd never considered that. It felt dramatic. Like something from a TV show. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. I needed to know. One way or another, I needed the truth. So I Googled Private Investigator Charlotte, North Carolina, and found a firm called Apex Investigations. They had good reviews, promised discretion, and offered a free consultation. I called the next day. "Apex Investigations, this is Tony speaking." "Hi. I need to hire someone to follow my husband. I think he's cheating." "I'm sorry you're going through this, ma'am. We can help. Can you come in for a consultation?" That afternoon, I met with Tony Chun, the owner of Apex Investigations. He was in his 50s, former police detective, professional and direct. "Tell me about your husband," he said. I explained everything. The late nights, the calls, the money, the distance. Tony nodded, taking notes. Classic signs. How long do you want surveillance? How long do these things usually take? Depends. If he's actively having an affair, we usually get evidence within a week. If he's more careful, it could take longer. Let's start with 2 weeks. Okay, I'll need your husband's details: full name, date of birth, car make and model, license plate, work address, daily routine. I provided everything. It felt wrong, like a betrayal, but I needed to know. One more thing, Tony said. What do you want us to do if we find evidence of infidelity? Document it. Photos, videos, whatever you can get. I need proof. And if we find something else? Sometimes surveillance reveals things the client wasn't expecting. Like what? Drug use, criminal activity, other concerning behavior. Are you prepared for that possibility? I just want to know if he's cheating. Understood. We'll start surveillance tomorrow. I paid the retainer, $2,500, and went home feeling sick to my stomach. That night, Derek came home at 11 p.m. I was already in bed, pretending to be asleep. He showered, climbed into bed beside me, and within minutes was snoring. I lay there in the dark, wondering what the investigator would find. Wondering if I really wanted to know. The first few days, Tony sent me brief updates via encrypted email. Day 1. Subject left work at 6:15 p.m. Drove to LA Fitness. Worked out for 90 minutes. Drove home. No suspicious activity. Day 2. Subject left work at 5:45 p.m. Stopped at Whole Foods. Purchased groceries. Drove home. No suspicious activity. Day 3. Subject left work at 7 p.m. Drove to restaurant, Fleming's Steakhouse. Met with 2 males. Business dinner. Left at 9:30 p.m. Drove home. No suspicious activity. I started to feel stupid. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe Derek was just working hard, stressed, and I'd let my imagination run wild. But then came day 4. Day 4. Subject left work at 6 p.m. Drove to extended stay hotel on North Tryon Street. Parked in back lot. Entered building. Did not check in at front desk. Went directly to room 217. Need to discuss findings. Call me. My hands were shaking as I read that message. A hotel. He went to a hotel. I called Tony immediately. I'm sorry, Mrs. Palmer. It looks like we found something. Did you see who he met? No one entered or exited the room while I was watching. But he was there for 2 hours. He entered at 6:15 p.m. and left at 8:30 p.m. So he's meeting someone there. A woman. That's the most likely explanation. I'll continue surveillance tomorrow and try to identify who he's meeting. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. A hotel. Derek was going to a hotel. To meet someone. To sleep with someone. My husband was cheating on me. I barely slept that night. Derek came home at his usual time, 9:30 p.m., cheerful, like nothing was wrong. How was your day? He asked, kissing my forehead. Fine. Busy. Yours? Same. Long meetings. I'm exhausted. He was lying to my face. He'd been at a hotel for 2 hours, and he was lying about it. The next day, day 5, I waited anxiously for Tony's update. It came at 8 p.m. Day 5. Subject left work at 6 p.m. Drove to same hotel. Entered room 217 again. This time I positioned myself better. At 6:45 p.m., subject exited room and went to parking lot. Retrieved large duffel bag from car trunk. Returned to room. Left at 8:15 p.m. with empty hands, no duffel bag. Mrs. Palmer, this doesn't look like an affair. This looks like something else. We need to meet in person. Tomorrow morning, my office, 9 a.m. This is urgent. I read that message 5 times. A duffel bag. He took a duffel bag into the room and left without it. What the hell was in that bag? This wasn't an affair. Tony was right. This was something else. Something worse. That night, I couldn't even look at Derek. I made an excuse about a headache and went to bed early. He didn't seem to notice. The next morning, I dropped the kids at school and drove straight to Tony's office. He looked serious. Concerned. Mrs. Palmer, I need to show you something. He pulled up photos on his computer. Derek's car in the hotel parking lot. Derek entering the building. Derek carrying a large duffel bag. What's in the bag? I asked. I don't know. But based on his behavior, the secrecy, the cash withdrawals, the hotel room he's apparently renting long-term, I have some theories and none of them are good. Tell me. It could be drugs. He could be dealing. The duffel bag could be product. The cash could be payment. The hotel room could be where he stores or distributes it. Derek doesn't do drugs. He doesn't even smoke weed. That doesn't mean he's not selling it. Or it could be something else. Like what? Stolen goods. Money laundering. Gambling. Mrs. Palmer, I've been a PI for 15 years. When someone is this secretive, when there's this much cash involved, when they're using a hotel room they don't stay in, it's usually illegal activity. My mouth went dry. You think my husband is a criminal? I think your husband is involved in something he doesn't want you to know about. And I think you need to be careful. If he's mixed up in something dangerous, you and your children could be at risk. What should I do? First, I need to figure out what's actually going on. I want to keep surveillance going. But I also think you should consider contacting a lawyer. And possibly the police. The police? I can't call the police on my husband without proof. I understand. Let me gather more evidence. But Mrs. Palmer, please be careful. Don't confront him. Don't let him know you're investigating. People do dangerous things when they're cornered. I left that meeting feeling like I was living in an alternate reality. My husband wasn't cheating. He was doing something illegal. What had happened to the man I married? For the next week, Tony continued surveillance. Every day, Derek went to that hotel room. Sometimes for an hour. Sometimes for 3 hours. He brought bags in. He brought bags out. Sometimes empty, sometimes full. And the cash withdrawals continued. Another $2,000. Then $1,500. Then $3,000. Where was this money going? What was he buying? Or selling? Then, on day 12, everything changed. Tony called me at 2 in the morning. I was asleep, Derek snoring beside me. I grabbed my phone and went to the bathroom to answer. Mrs. Palmer. Tony's voice was tense. We need to meet. Right now. And you need to bring a lawyer. What? Why? What happened? I can't tell you over the phone. But Mrs. Palmer, this is serious. Your husband isn't just involved in something illegal. He's involved in something that's about to get a lot of people hurt. I'm contacting the authorities. But you need legal representation immediately. Tony, you're scaring me. You should be scared. Where can you meet me right now? I can't leave. My kids are asleep. My husband is here. Can you get out of the house without him knowing? What's going on? I followed your husband tonight. He didn't go to the hotel. He went somewhere else. And what I saw, Mrs. Palmer, your husband is not who you think he is. Then who is he? That's what we need to figure out. Tomorrow morning, first thing, we meet. And you don't tell him anything. Do you understand? Act normal. Pretend everything is fine. But tomorrow, everything changes. He hung up. I sat on the bathroom floor, shaking, trying not to cry. What had Derek done? What had I uncovered? I thought I was investigating an affair. Instead, I'd opened a door to something dark. Something dangerous. And whatever it was about to blow up my entire life. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. I lay in bed next to Derek, listening to him breathe, wondering who he really was. The man I'd married 12 years ago was kind. Honest. Boring even. He worked in finance, came home for dinner, played with the kids, watched TV with me. When did that man disappear? When did he become whoever he was now? At 6 a.m., Derek's alarm went off. He got up, showered, dressed for work like it was any other day. You okay? He asked as he knotted his tie. You look tired. Didn't sleep well, I said. Everything all right? Yeah. Just stressed about work. He kissed my forehead. Love you. Have a good day. Love you too. The words tasted like ash in my mouth. After he left, I got the kids ready for school, then called my friend Rachel. Can you take Sophie and Mason tonight? Tell them it's a spontaneous sleepover? I need to deal with something. Is this about Derek? Yes. And it's worse than I thought. Oh, Lauren. I'm so sorry. Of course I'll take them. I dropped the kids at school, told them they were having a fun sleepover at Auntie Rachel's, then drove to meet Tony. But I wasn't meeting him at his office. He'd texted me an address. A law firm downtown. My lawyer, he'd written. She needs to hear this too. When I arrived, I was led to a conference room where Tony sat with a woman in her 40s, professional, sharp-eyed. Mrs. Palmer, this is Janet Rodriguez. She's a criminal defense attorney. Criminal defense? Why do I need? Please sit down, Janet said gently. Tony's about to show you something, and you're going to need legal counsel. I sat, my heart pounding. Tony pulled out his laptop. Last night, I followed your husband. He left work at 5:30 p.m. But he didn't go to the hotel. He drove to an industrial area near the airport. specifically to a warehouse. He showed me photos. Derek's car in a dark parking lot. Derek walking toward a large metal building. I couldn't get close, too much open space, I'd have been spotted. But I had a long-range camera. And I saw who he met. Tony clicked to the next photo. It showed Derek standing in the warehouse entrance talking to 3 men. Even from a distance, even in the dim lighting, I could see they looked dangerous. Tattoos. Leather jackets. One was holding what looked like a gun. Who are they? I whispered. That's what I wanted to know. So I ran their license plates. Tony pulled up a document. 2 of these men have extensive criminal records. Drug trafficking, weapons charges, assault. They're members of the Southside Kings. The gang? Yes. One of Charlotte's most dangerous gangs. They control most of the drug trade in this area. I couldn't breathe. Derek is meeting with gang members? It gets worse. Tony clicked to another photo. This one showed Derek and one of the men exchanging something. Derek handed over a bag. The man opened it, looked inside, then handed Derek a different bag. What is that? I asked, though I already knew. I believe Derek handed over cash and received drugs. Or possibly the reverse, drugs for cash. Either way, Mrs. Palmer, your husband is involved in drug trafficking. The room spun. This wasn't possible. This couldn't be real. There's more, Tony said quietly. After the exchange, I followed Derek. He didn't go home. He went to a different location. An apartment complex in South Charlotte. More photos. Derek entering an apartment building. Standing outside a specific door. Knocking. A woman answered. Young, maybe mid-20s. Blonde. Pretty. He's having an affair after all? I said bitterly. No. Watch. Tony pulled up a video file. Surveillance footage from the apartment complex hallway. In the video, Derek entered the apartment. The door stayed open briefly, and I saw inside. The apartment was full of people. At least 10 men and women, all young, all working at tables covered with what looked like small plastic bags and scales. That's a drug packaging operation, Janet said. They're cutting and bagging drugs for street distribution. And Derek is involved in this? My voice was barely a whisper. It appears he's running it, Tony said. Based on what I observed, the way people deferred to him, the way he moved through the space like he owned it, your husband isn't just involved. He's in charge. I thought I was going to throw up. There's one more thing, Tony said. And this is the most concerning part. He pulled up more photos. Derek getting into his car after leaving the apartment. But he wasn't alone. There was someone in his trunk. Not a person. Not visible. But you could see the trunk was slightly ajar, held open by something inside. And you could see what looked like a bag, large, black, body-sized. What is that? I asked, though I didn't want to know. I don't know. But Mrs. Palmer, I've seen enough to know this is beyond my scope. Your husband is involved in serious criminal activity. And you need to protect yourself and your children. What do I do? Janet leaned forward. First, you don't confront him. If he's involved with dangerous people, confronting him could put you at risk. So I just pretend everything's normal? For now, yes. While we figure out our next steps. What are our next steps? Tony and Janet exchanged a look. We need to contact law enforcement, Tony said. What I've documented is evidence of ongoing criminal activity. I'm legally obligated to report it. But if you report it, Derek will be arrested. He'll go to prison. My kids will lose their father. Your kids will be safer without a father who's running drugs, Janet said bluntly. Lauren, I know this is devastating. But your priority has to be protecting Sophie and Mason. She was right. I knew she was right. But how do you make peace with destroying your children's father? Before we go to the police, Janet continued, we need to secure your finances. Separate your accounts from Derek's. Anything in joint accounts could be seized if they're connected to illegal activity. We also need to document everything you own, assets, property, savings. Protect yourself legally. And then we contact the FBI. The FBI? Not the local police. Drug trafficking that crosses state lines is federal jurisdiction. And based on the scale of what Tony observed, this isn't small time. The FBI will want this. Over the next 3 days, I lived in a nightmare. I went home, acted normal, made dinner, helped with homework, kissed Derek goodnight, all while knowing what he was. Meanwhile, Janet worked behind the scenes. She separated my bank accounts, protected my assets, documented everything. And Tony compiled his evidence. Photos, videos, detailed notes. Everything he'd observed over 2 weeks of surveillance. On the fourth day, we met with FBI agent Sarah Mitchell at the FBI field office in Charlotte. Agent Mitchell was young, maybe early 30s, but sharp and professional. She listened to everything, my initial suspicions, Tony's surveillance, what he'd discovered. "How long has this been going on?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. "I only noticed something was wrong 6 months ago. But it could have been longer." "Did you ever suspect criminal activity before?" "Never. Derek is, I caught myself. Derek was a normal guy. Finance job, suburban dad, boring life. I thought the worst thing he could be doing was having an affair." Agent Mitchell made notes. "The individuals your investigator photographed with Mr. Palmer, the Southside Kings, we've been investigating them for 2 years. They're a major distribution network. If your husband is working with them, he's involved in something significant. What happens now? Now we investigate. We'll run our own surveillance, verify what Mr. Chin documented, gather additional evidence. This could take weeks or even months. Months. I have to live with him for months knowing what he is. I understand this is difficult, but if we move too quickly, we could blow the investigation. We need to build an airtight case not just against your husband, but against the entire operation. And what about me? What about my kids? If something goes wrong, we'll protect you. But Mrs. Palmer, I need you to do something difficult. I need you to act normal. Don't give him any reason to suspect you know. Can you do that? Could I? Could I sleep beside a drug trafficker every night? Could I smile and make small talk with someone I no longer knew? I'll try, I said. Over the next month, I lived a double life. At home, I was Lauren Palmer, loving wife and mother. I made breakfast, packed lunches, kissed my husband goodbye. But secretly, I was working with the FBI, providing them with Derek's schedule, his patterns, any information that might help their investigation. It was torture. Every time Derek came home late, I wondered what he'd been doing. Who had he met? What drugs had he sold? Had someone been hurt because of him? And the worst part? The kids had no idea. Sophie would hug Derek when he came home. "Daddy, I missed you." Mason would show him drawings. "Look what I made at school." And Derek would smile and act like a normal dad. Like he wasn't destroying lives for money. How could someone compartmentalize like that? How could he be a criminal and a father? One night, about 5 weeks into the FBI investigation, Derek came home and seemed off. Not suspicious. Not paranoid. But scared. "Everything okay?" I asked as he picked at his dinner. "Yeah, just work stuff." "What kind of work stuff?" He looked at me, and for a moment, I saw something in his eyes. Regret. Guilt. Fear. Nothing. Don't worry about it. But I was worried. Because something had happened. Something that shook him. The next day, I called Agent Mitchell. "Derek seemed scared last night. Like something went wrong." "We know," she said. "There was an incident. One of the Southside Kings operations was raided by local police. Several arrests were made. Does Derek know I'm working with you?" "No. But he's probably worried the investigation will lead to him. Which means we need to move faster. We're accelerating the timeline." "What does that mean?" "It means we're preparing to make arrests. Soon. Within the next 2 weeks." My heart sank. 2 weeks. "Yes. I need you to be ready. When we arrest your husband, it's going to be dramatic. We'll come early morning, heavily armed. The kids can't be there." "Oh God. I'm sorry, Mrs. Palmer. I know this is traumatic. But we have to do this right." 10 days later, at 5:45 a.m., I heard vehicles outside. Lots of vehicles. I was already awake. Agent Mitchell had warned me the raid was happening today. I'd sent the kids to my parents' house the night before, told them Grandma wanted a special visit. Now, lying in bed next to Derek, I heard car doors slamming. Heavy footsteps. Shouting. Derek jolted awake. "What the?" The front door exploded open. "FBI! Search warrant." Agents in tactical gear flooded our house. Flashlights. Guns. Shouting. "Derek Palmer. FBI. Hands where we can see them." Derek's face went white. He looked at me. And in that moment he knew. He knew I'd done this. "Lauren." His voice was broken. "What did you do?" "Get on the ground. Now." They dragged Derek out of bed, forced him face down on the floor, handcuffed him. "Lauren, what did you do?" he kept saying. "Lauren, please." Agent Mitchell appeared in the doorway. "Mrs. Palmer, you need to come with me." I was led out of the bedroom as agents searched every inch of our house. In the living room, Derek was being read his rights. "Derek Palmer, You're under arrest for conspiracy to distribute controlled substances, drug trafficking, money laundering, and racketeering. You have the right to remain silent." Derek wasn't listening. He was staring at me. "How could you?" he whispered. "Lauren, how could you do this to me? To our family? How could I?" I felt tears streaming down my face. "How could you? You were selling drugs. You were working with gangs. You put our children at risk. I was protecting you. I was protecting all of us. By being a criminal? By doing what I had to do." "Enough," Agent Mitchell said. "Mr. Palmer, you'll have time to talk to your wife later. Right now, you're coming with us." They dragged Derek out of our house. He was still in his pajamas, handcuffed, being shoved into an FBI vehicle. Our neighbors were watching, standing on their lawns, staring. Mrs. Henderson from next door had her hand over her mouth in shock. My perfect life was over. Destroyed. And everyone was watching it happen. Agent Mitchell put her hand on my shoulder. "Mrs. Palmer, we need to talk. There's more you need to know." "More? How can there be more?" "Come with me. We'll explain everything." Agent Mitchell drove me to the FBI field office. We passed through security, went up to the 3rd floor, and entered a secure conference room. Inside, there were 3 other agents, all looking serious. "Mrs. Palmer, please sit down," Agent Mitchell said. I sat, feeling numb. "We arrested your husband this morning as part of a larger operation," Agent Mitchell began. "We've also arrested 12 other individuals connected to the Southside Kings drug network. Your husband was a significant part of that network. I still don't understand how this happened. Derek worked in finance. He had a normal job. When did he become a drug dealer?" Agent Mitchell exchanged looks with the other agents. "That's what we need to discuss. Mrs. Palmer, your husband didn't work in finance. At least, not in the way you think." "What?" One of the other agents, a man in his 50s, leaned forward. "I'm Agent David Torres. I've been investigating financial crimes for 20 years. Your husband does work at Pinnacle Financial Group, correct?" "Yes. He's been there for 8 years. "And what does he do there?" "He's a senior analyst. He analyzes investment portfolios, advises clients." "That's what he told you. But it's not what he actually does." My stomach dropped. "What does he actually do?" "Derek Palmer is a money launderer." The words didn't make sense. "What?" "Pinnacle Financial Group is a legitimate company. But about 6 years ago, they were infiltrated by organized crime. Certain employees, including your husband, were recruited to help criminal organizations clean their drug money." "How? How does that even work?" "It's complex, but essentially, the Southside Kings make millions from selling drugs. That money is cash, and it's dirty, meaning it can't be deposited in banks or used for legitimate purchases without raising red flags. So they need someone to make it appear legal. That's where your husband comes in." Agent Torres pulled up documents on a screen. Derek would take cash from the drug operation and run it through fake businesses, shell corporations, and investment accounts. He'd make the money look like legitimate business income or investment returns. Then the Southside Kings could access their money without anyone questioning where it came from. But his job? His salary? How? His salary from Pinnacle is real. But he was also being paid by the Southside Kings. Large amounts. Cash payments, offshore accounts. Over the past 6 years, your husband has made approximately $1.2 million from money laundering. I felt like I was going to pass out. $1.2 million? Yes. And that money is gone. Spent, hidden, or moved offshore. We're still trying to trace it. Where did it go? We don't have $1.2 million. That's what we're trying to figure out. Agent Mitchell spoke up. "Mrs. Palmer, your husband has been living a double life. To you, to your children, to your neighbors, he was Derek Palmer, suburban dad. But to the Southside Kings, he was a key player in their organization. But the hotel room. The duffel bags. What was that?" The hotel room was a dead drop. A place where Derek would receive cash from the gang and leave laundered money in return. The duffel bags contained hundreds of thousands of dollars. "Oh my God. And the apartment your investigator saw? That was a processing center. The drugs would come in bulk, get cut, packaged, and prepared for street distribution. Your husband was overseeing that operation." "Why?" I felt tears streaming down my face. "Why would he do this? We had enough money. We were comfortable. Why would he risk everything?" Agent Mitchell's expression softened. "That's what we're still trying to understand. Your husband isn't cooperating. He's invoked his right to an attorney and isn't answering questions. But based on what we know, it started 6 years ago. Something happened that made him vulnerable to recruitment. What do you mean vulnerable? Criminal organizations don't recruit random people. They target individuals who are desperate, who need money, who have something to hide. We're looking into your husband's history to figure out what made him a target. I don't understand. 6 years ago, everything was fine. We just had Mason. Derek got promoted at work. Everything was normal. Was it? Agent Torres asked gently. Think back. Was there anything unusual that year? Any financial stress? Any behavioral changes? I tried to remember. 6 years ago, Mason had just been born. Sophie was 3. Derek had gotten promoted. And then I remembered something. There was a problem at work, I said slowly. Derek came home upset one night. Said there'd been an issue with a client's account. Money had gone missing. He was being blamed for it. What happened with that? I don't know. He said it got resolved. That it was a misunderstanding. He seemed stressed for a few weeks, but then it passed. Agent Torres was typing rapidly. That's important. That could be when they recruited him. If money genuinely went missing and Derek was blamed, he might have been desperate to cover it up. Or what? Or he actually stole it, got caught, and was given a choice. Work for the people who could make the problem disappear or face prosecution. Derek wouldn't steal. Mrs. Palmer, Derek was laundering money for a drug cartel, Agent Torres said firmly. Whether he started by stealing or was coerced, the fact remains. He made a choice. Multiple choices. For 6 years. I felt hollow. Empty. The man I'd married, the father of my children, was a stranger. What happens now? I asked. Now we need your full cooperation, Agent Mitchell said. We need you to tell us everything you know about Derek's activities, his associates, his finances. Anything that could help us. I've told you everything. I didn't know about any of this. We believe you. But there might be things you know that you don't realize are important. We'll need to interview you extensively over the next several days. And then what? What happens to Derek? He's facing federal charges. If convicted, he's looking at 20 to 30 years in prison. Possibly more, depending on what else we uncover. 20 to 30 years. Sophie would be in her 30s. Mason would be in his mid-30s. They'd grow up without a father. What about me? What about my kids? That's the other thing we need to discuss, Agent Mitchell said, her tone becoming more serious. Mrs. Palmer, your husband wasn't just working with the Southside Kings. He was working with several criminal organizations. And some of them are extremely dangerous. What does that mean for us? It means that when word gets out that Derek was arrested, when these organizations realize he might cooperate with law enforcement, you and your children could become targets. The room felt like it was closing in. Targets. Leverage. Retaliation. These organizations don't take betrayal lightly. Even if Derek doesn't cooperate, they might assume he will. They might come after you to send a message. Oh God. Oh my God. We're going to protect you. But I need you to understand how serious this is. Your life as you know it is over. You can't go back to your house. You can't go back to work. Your children can't go back to school. What are you saying? I'm saying you need to disappear. For your safety and your children's safety, we're placing you in protective custody. And depending on how this investigation unfolds, you might need to enter witness protection. The next 72 hours were a blur. I wasn't allowed to go home. Everything I needed, clothes, toiletries, medications, was brought to me by FBI agents. My kids were picked up from my parents' house by federal marshals. When they arrived at the safe house where I was staying, they were confused and scared. Mommy, where's Daddy? Mason asked, clutching his stuffed dinosaur. Why are there so many police? Sophie demanded. What's going on? I held them both, trying not to cry. Daddy did something wrong. Something very wrong. And he's going to be away for a long time. What did he do? Sophie asked. She was 9, old enough to understand more than I wanted her to. He broke the law. He hurt people. And now he has to face consequences. Is he in jail? Yes, sweetheart. Mason started crying. I want Daddy. I know, baby. I know. Over the next week, I was interviewed by FBI agents for hours every day. They asked about everything. Derek's schedule, his friends, his family, our finances, our marriage, any unusual behavior over the years. I told them everything I could remember, but it wasn't much. Derek had hidden his double life perfectly. They showed me evidence they'd gathered. Photos of Derek meeting with known criminals. Surveillance footage of him entering drug houses. Financial records showing massive amounts of money moving through shell corporations he controlled. They showed me the hotel room where he'd been doing dead drops. When they raided it, they found $340,000 in cash hidden in the walls. $340,000. In a hotel room. Just sitting there. Where did that money come from? I asked. Drug sales. Your husband was supposed to launder it, but he hadn't gotten to it yet. What happens to it now? It's evidence. Eventually, it'll be seized by the government. They also showed me something else. Something that broke me completely. We found a second phone, Agent Mitchell said, placing an iPhone on the table in front of me. Derek had a burner phone he used for his criminal activities. We recovered it during the raid. She unlocked it and showed me the contents. Hundreds of text messages. Calls. Photos. All related to drug deals, money transfers, criminal activity. But there was also something else. A woman's name appeared frequently in the messages. Melissa. Who is Melissa? I asked, though part of me already knew. Melissa Rodriguez. She's 26 years old. She works at the drug packaging facility your investigator discovered. And based on these messages, she and your husband were having an affair. So I'd been right all along. Derek was cheating. But that was somehow the least of his crimes now. Agent Mitchell scrolled through the messages. They were explicit. Sexual. Loving. I can't wait to see you tonight. You're the only good thing in my life. When this is all over, we'll be together for real. I promise. I felt sick. How long? I whispered. Based on the messages, at least 2 years. 2 years. While I was raising his children, keeping his house, believing in our marriage, he was sleeping with a 26-year-old drug dealer. I'm sorry, Agent Mitchell said. I know this is a lot. A lot. That was an understatement. 3 days after Derek's arrest, I was finally allowed to see him. He was being held at the Federal Detention Center, awaiting trial. No bail, he was considered a flight risk. I was escorted into a small room with a glass partition. Derek was brought in wearing an orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed. He looked terrible. Unshaven, exhausted, defeated. We picked up the phones on either side of the glass. Lauren, he said, his voice cracking. Thank God. Are you okay? Are the kids okay? Don't, I said coldly. Don't pretend you care about us. I do care. I love you. I love our kids. You sold drugs. You laundered money. You worked with gangs. You put our children in danger. That's not love. I did it for you. For them. For our family. Bullshit. You did it for money. For yourself. And for Melissa. His face went pale. How do you? The FBI found your phone. They showed me everything. The messages. The photos. So congratulations, Derek. You weren't just a criminal. You were also a cheating bastard. Lauren, please. Let me explain. Explain what? Explain how you lied to me for 6 years? Explain how you risked our children's lives? Explain how you slept with someone barely older than our babysitter. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Then how is it supposed to be? Derek put his head in his hands. When he looked up, there were tears in his eyes. 6 years ago, I made a mistake. A client's account at work. I was managing it, and I made some bad investments. Really bad. The client lost $200,000. I panicked. I tried to cover it up by moving money from other accounts. But I got caught. You stole. Yes, I stole. And I was going to get fired and prosecuted. We would have lost everything, the house, our savings, everything. So when someone approached me and offered to make the problem go away in exchange for a favor, I said yes. What favor? Laundering money. Just once. Just one transaction. They said if I did it, they'd replace the $200,000 I'd lost and make the whole investigation disappear. So I did it. And then they owned me. They said if I didn't keep working for them, they'd expose what I'd done. I'd go to prison. You'd leave me. The kids would grow up without a father. So I kept doing it. And after a while, it became normal. The money was good. Really good. And I told myself I was doing it for you, for the kids, to give you all a better life. We didn't need a better life. We needed an honest father and husband. I know that now. But I was in too deep. I couldn't get out. And Melissa? Derek closed his eyes. That was a mistake. A huge mistake. I was stressed, scared, living this double life, and she was there, and it just happened. I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you what happened. Do you love her? No. I love you. I've always loved you. Then why did you tell her you'd be together when this was all over? I was lying. I told her what she wanted to hear to keep her quiet. Lauren, you have to believe me. You and the kids are my whole world. We were your cover story, I said bitterly. Your normal life that made you look legitimate, while you were out dealing drugs and sleeping with your mistress. That's not true, isn't it? We sat in silence for a moment. What's going to happen to you? I finally asked. My lawyer says I'm looking at 25 years minimum. Maybe more. Good. Lauren. Sophie and Mason ask about you. Mason cries for you every night. Do you have any idea what you've done to them? I know. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't give them their father back. Sorry doesn't undo 6 years of lies. Is there anything I can do? Any way to make this right? Yes. You can cooperate with the FBI. Tell them everything. Help them take down the people you worked with. Maybe if you do that, you'll get a reduced sentence. Maybe you'll be out in time to see your grandchildren. If I cooperate, they'll kill me. The Southside Kings don't forgive snitches. Then I guess you have a choice to make. Protect yourself or protect your family. What do you mean? The FBI says we're in danger. That the gangs might come after me and the kids to punish you. If you cooperate, if you help the FBI take these people down, maybe we'll be safe. Derek stared at me through the glass. Are you asking me to risk my life? I'm asking you to finally do the right thing. For once in 6 years, put your family first. I left that meeting not knowing if Derek would cooperate. But 3 days later, Agent Mitchell called me with news. Your husband has agreed to work with us. He's given us detailed information about the Southside Kings operation, their suppliers, their distribution network, everything. He's also agreed to testify against them in court. What does that mean for his sentence? If he cooperates fully, he's looking at 12 to 15 years instead of 25 to 30. Still a long time, but better than the alternative. And what does it mean for us? Agent Mitchell was quiet for a moment. Mrs. Palmer, you need to sit down for this. I sat. Because your husband is cooperating, because he's testifying against multiple dangerous criminals, you and your children are now in immediate danger. These are people who will kill without hesitation. They've already put out word on the street that there's a price on Derek's head. And by extension on yours. How much? We don't discuss specifics, but it's substantial. Enough that every gang member in Charlotte is looking for you. My blood ran cold. What do we do? You enter witness protection. All of you. New names, new lives, new location. You'll have to leave everything behind. Your job, your family, your friends. You can't contact anyone from your old life. Ever. 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 If these people find you, they will kill you and your children. This is the only way to keep you safe. What about my parents? My sister? Rachel? You'll have to say goodbye. But you can't tell them where you're going. You can't tell them your new names. You just disappear. I thought about my mother, who watched the kids every Wednesday. My father, who taught Sophie to ride a bike. My sister, who I talked to every day. Rachel, my best friend since college. I'd never see any of them again. When? I whispered. Tonight. We're moving you tonight. They gave me 2 hours. 2 hours to say goodbye to everyone I loved. 2 hours to end my entire life as Lauren Palmer. The FBI brought my parents to the safe house first. They didn't tell them why, just that it was urgent. My mother walked in looking terrified. Lauren, what's going on? Where are Sophie and Mason? Are they okay? Sit down, Mom. Both of you. They sat, holding hands, looking at me with worried eyes. Derek was arrested, I began. We know, honey. We saw it on the news. They said he was involved with drugs. That can't be true, can it? It's true. All of it. Derek was laundering money for a gang. He was running drug operations. For 6 years. My mother gasped. My father's face went hard. That son of a bitch, Dad said quietly. I never liked him. Ed, Mom started. I never did. There was always something off about him. Too perfect. Too smooth. And now we know why. There's more, I said. Because Derek is cooperating with the FBI, testifying against the people he worked with, they've put a target on him. And on me and the kids. What kind of target? Dad asked. The kind that gets people killed. The FBI says we're in immediate danger. So they're putting us in witness protection. Silence. Witness protection? Mom whispered. You mean you're leaving? Yes. Tonight. We're getting new names, new identities, moving to a new place. And we can't tell anyone where we're going. Not even you. For how long? Forever, Mom. I'll never see you again. My mother started crying. Deep, wrenching sobs. My father pulled her close, his own eyes wet. There has to be another way, he said. You can't just disappear. There's no other way. If we stay, we die. These are serious people, Dad. Killers. Then we'll protect you. We'll move with you, You can't. The program only covers us. And even if it covered you, would you ask Grandma to leave? Aunt Susan? Everyone. He had no answer. My mother reached across and gripped my hands. My babies. Sophie and Mason. I'll never see them grow up. No. I'm so sorry, Mom. What do I tell people? What do I say when someone asks where you are? The FBI will create a cover story. Maybe that we moved for my job. That we wanted a fresh start after Derek's arrest. I don't know. But you can't tell anyone the truth. We sat together, crying, for the next hour. My father kept asking questions, practical questions about money, about the kids' education, about what we'd need, because that's how he dealt with emotions. By being practical. My mother just held me and cried. When it was time for them to leave, my mother clutched me so hard I couldn't breathe. I love you, she whispered. I love you so much. You're my baby girl. You'll always be my baby girl. I love you too, Mom. Take care of Sophie and Mason. Keep them safe. I will. I promise. And Lauren, don't let Derek's choices destroy you. You're stronger than this. You'll survive. I wanted to believe her. They left, and I watched from the window as my father helped my mother to the car. She was sobbing so hard she could barely walk. That was the last time I ever saw my parents. Next was my sister, Amy. Amy was 2 years older than me, married with 3 kids of her own. We'd been close our whole lives. When she arrived, she already knew something terrible was happening. They won't tell me anything, she said as soon as she walked in. Just that you needed to see me urgently. Lauren, what's going on? I explained everything again. Derek's crimes. The danger. Witness protection. Amy listened in stunned silence. You're leaving, she finally said. Just like that. I don't have a choice. There's always a choice. Not this time. It's this or we die, Amy. Literally. She started pacing. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. How did this happen? How did we go from Sunday dinners to you disappearing into witness protection? I don't know. I really don't know. And the kids? Sophie and Mason? They'll never see their cousins again? Never have playdates with Emma and Jack? No. They'll grow up without family. Without grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. Just you. I know. Amy sat down hard. I can't believe this. I can't believe Derek did this to you. To all of us. I can't either. Do you hate him? I thought about that. Yes. No. I don't know. I hate what he did. I hate that he destroyed our lives. But he's still the father of my children, and some part of me still remembers who he used to be. Or who I thought he was. That person never existed, Lauren. The Derek we knew was a lie. Maybe. Probably. But I have to believe there was something real, or else the last 12 years of my life meant nothing. Amy came over and hugged me. I'm going to miss you so much. I'll miss you too. Take care of yourself. And if you ever get out of this, if you're ever safe again, find me. Okay. Find me and we'll be sisters again. Okay. But we both knew I never would. Finally, Rachel. Rachel had been my best friend since college. We'd been through everything together. Bad boyfriends, career changes, pregnancies, postpartum depression, marriage problems. She knew me better than anyone. When she walked into the safe house, she took one look at my face and said, "You're leaving." How did you know? Because you have that look. The look people get when they're about to lose everything. I told her everything. And unlike my family, Rachel didn't cry. She just listened, nodding occasionally, her expression grim. When I finished, she said, "Derek's an asshole." Despite everything, I almost laughed. Yeah. And he's put you in an impossible situation. Yeah. So what do you need from me? That was Rachel. Always practical. Always focused on solutions. I need you to understand why I'm doing this. Why I have to disappear. I understand. You're protecting your kids. There's nothing more important than that. And I need you to know that you've been the best friend I could ever ask for. You've been there for me through everything. And I'm so sorry I have to leave you. Now Rachel's eyes got wet. Don't apologize. This isn't your fault. It feels like it is. It's not. You didn't do anything wrong. Derek did. And now you're paying the price, and that's not fair, but it's reality. So you do what you have to do. You protect Sophie and Mason. And you build a new life. A good life. You hear me? I hear you. And Lauren, wherever you end up, Whatever your new name is, you're still you. Don't let this break you. I'll try. We hugged for a long time. When Rachel pulled away, she was crying. I love you, she said. I love you too. Be happy, okay? Somehow, some way, find a way to be happy again. I will. She left, and I watched her drive away, knowing I'd never see her again. After everyone left, I sat alone in the safe house for a few minutes, letting it all sink in. My entire life was over. Lauren Palmer, the woman I'd been for 34 years, was about to cease to exist. My job at the hospital, where I'd worked for 8 years. Gone. My house, the first home Derek and I bought together. Gone. My neighborhood, where I knew everyone's names and their kids played with mine. Gone. My church, my book club, my gym, my favorite coffee shop. All gone. Every memory, every connection, every piece of my identity, erased. And I had no say in any of it. It was happening whether I wanted it to or not. Agent Mitchell came in. It's time. The transport is here. Where are we going? I can't tell you that yet. But it's far from here. Different state, different region. Somewhere the Southside Kings have no presence. What happens when we get there? You'll be given new identities. Social security numbers, birth certificates, school records for the kids, employment history for you. Everything you need to build a new life. What about money? The government will provide assistance for the first 6 months while you get established. After that, you're on your own. And if someone finds us, they won't. The U.S. Marshals run the Witness Protection Program. They've been doing this for decades. As long as you follow the rules, don't contact anyone from your old life, don't use your real names, don't go back to Charlotte, you'll be safe. And if we break the rules, then you're on your own. The program will drop you, and you'll have no protection. She led me out to where Sophie and Mason were waiting with 2 marshals. The kids looked scared. They'd said goodbye to their grandparents earlier and were told they'd never see them again. They didn't fully understand what was happening. Mommy, where are we going? Mason asked, clutching his stuffed dinosaur. On an adventure, I said, trying to sound cheerful. We're going to a new place. It's going to be different, but it's going to be okay. Will we see Grandma and Grandpa again? No, baby. We won't. Why not? Because we have to stay safe. And staying safe means we have to go somewhere new and not see our old friends and family anymore. I don't want to go, Sophie said. I want to stay here. I want my friends. I want my school. I know, sweetheart. I know this is hard, but we don't have a choice. It's Dad's fault, Sophie said bitterly. Dad did this to us. She was right, and I couldn't deny it. Yes, I said. It is. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We were loaded into an unmarked van. No windows in the back. Just seats and seatbelts and 2 marshals with guns. As we drove away from the safe house, away from Charlotte, away from everything I'd ever known, I held my children close. Sophie was crying silently. Mason was asking questions that I couldn't answer. Where are we going? How long will we be gone? Can I bring my toys? Will I make new friends? I didn't know the answers to any of it. All I knew was that my life as Lauren Palmer was over. And whoever I was about to become, I had to make sure she was strong enough to protect her children. Because that's all that mattered now. We drove for 6 hours. I had no idea where we were going. The van had no windows in the back, and the marshals wouldn't tell us our destination. Sophie fell asleep against my shoulder. Mason played with his dinosaur, making quiet roaring sounds. I stared at the metal wall of the van and tried not to think about what we were leaving behind. Finally, the van stopped. We're here, one of the marshals said. The back doors opened and I saw a small town, mountains in the distance, clean streets, a main road with local shops. Where is this? I asked. Montana, the marshal said. Town called Riverside. Population 8,000. It's quiet, safe, and far from anywhere the Southside Kings operate. Montana. We'd gone from North Carolina to Montana. A completely different world. The marshals drove us to a small house on the edge of town. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, basic furniture. This is your home for now, the female marshal said. Her name was Agent Sandra Kim, and she'd be our primary contact. Rent is paid for 6 months. After that, you're responsible for it. She handed me a folder. Inside is everything you need. Your new identities, social security cards, driver's license, birth certificates, school records for the children. Study these. Memorize them. You need to be these people now. I opened the folder. My new driver's license stared back at me. Name, Rachel Marie Thompson. DOB, June 14, 1991. Address, 487 Pine Street, Riverside, Montana. Rachel. They'd named me Rachel. After my best friend. I don't know if that was intentional or coincidence, but it felt like a small kindness. Sophie was now Emma Thompson, age 9. Mason was now Liam Thompson, age 6. Why Thompson? I asked. Common last name. Easy to blend in. And we chose first names similar to their real names so the kids will adapt faster. Studies show children adjust better when their new names sound similar to their old ones. What about our story? What do we tell people? You're a single mother. Your husband died in a car accident 2 years ago. You're starting fresh in Montana to be closer to your late husband's family, who live in Billings, 3 hours away, which explains why no one here knows them. You worked as a nurse in Colorado, and you're looking for work here. What if someone asks details? What if they want to know more? Keep it vague. People in small towns are friendly, but they also respect privacy. Just say it's hard to talk about, and most people will drop it. Agent Kim spent the next 2 hours going over our new identities in detail. Every aspect of our cover story. What schools the kids had attended. Where I'd worked. Where we'd lived. You need to practice, she said. Role play with your children. Make sure they can answer basic questions about their new lives without hesitating. After she left, I sat Sophie and Mason, Emma and Liam, down at the kitchen table. Okay guys, we need to talk about something important. I don't like my new name, Sophie said immediately. I know, sweetie. But we have to use these names now. It's very important. It's how we stay safe. Why can't I be Sophie anymore? Because the bad people Dad was involved with might try to find us. And if we use our real names, they can track us down. So we have to be different people now. But I am Sophie. That's who I am. And you'll always be Sophie to me. But when we're around other people, you're Emma. Can you do that? She crossed her arms. I guess. Liam. Can you remember your new name? Mason nodded seriously. I'm Liam Thompson. I'm 6 years old. I like dinosaurs. Good job, buddy. We spent the rest of the evening practicing. I'd ask them questions. What's your name? Where did you live before? What school did you go to? And they'd answer using their new identities. Sophie Emma hated it. She kept slipping up, calling herself Sophie, getting frustrated when I corrected her. But Mason Liam treated it like a game. He was young enough that he didn't fully understand the gravity of the situation. That night, I put them to bed in their new rooms in our new house and our new life. Mommy, Emma whispered as I tucked her in. Yes, sweetheart? Are we ever going back home? I wanted to lie. I wanted to tell her yes someday when it's safe. But she deserved the truth. No, baby. We're not. This is our home now. She started crying. Quiet, heartbroken sobs. I held her until she fell asleep. The first few weeks in Riverside were brutal. Everything was wrong. The town was too small. The pace was too slow. The people were too friendly in that rural way that felt intrusive. In Charlotte, I'd been anonymous in a big city. Here, everyone knew everyone. And everyone wanted to know about the new family in town. At the grocery store. You must be new. I'm Janet. Welcome to Riverside. Where are you from? At the coffee shop. Moving here must be a big change. What brings you to Montana? At the kids' new school. Emma and Liam are adjusting so well. You must be so proud. Single parent, right? That must be tough. Everyone meant well. But every conversation felt like a minefield. I had to remember my cover story. Had to make sure I didn't slip up. Had to be Rachel Thompson, widowed mother of 2, not Lauren Palmer, wife of a federal criminal. The kids struggled even more. Emma, I had to keep reminding myself to call her Emma, was angry. Angry at Derek, angry at me, angry at the situation. She acted out at school, refused to make friends, and spent most of her time in her room. I hate it here, she told me one night. I want to go home. I want to see Grandma. I want my real life back. I know, honey. I do too. But this is our life now. It's not fair. You're right. It's not. I hate Dad. I hate him for doing this to us. I didn't disagree. Liam handled it better, but only because he was younger. He made friends at school, adapted to his new name, seemed to accept the change more easily. But sometimes I'd hear him crying at night, asking for his grandparents. As for me, I was drowning. I applied for nursing jobs, but my work history from Colorado was fake, and hospitals wanted references I couldn't provide. The Witness Protection Program had created documents, but they couldn't create actual people who'd worked with me. After 2 months of rejection, I finally got a job at a small clinic in town. The pay was half what I'd made in Charlotte, and the work was basic: vaccinations, sick visits, minor injuries. But it was income. And I needed income desperately because the 6-month government assistance was running out. Money was tight. Really tight. The house we were renting was small and run down. We had basic furniture and not much else. I couldn't afford new clothes for the kids when they outgrew their old ones, so I shopped at thrift stores. In Charlotte, we'd been comfortable. Not wealthy, but comfortable. Now we were barely scraping by. And I couldn't ask anyone for help because I couldn't tell anyone our real situation. My parents would have sent money in a heartbeat. My sister would have helped. Rachel would have helped. But I couldn't contact any of them. The rules were clear. No contact with anyone from my old life. Ever. So I was alone. Completely alone. No family. No friends. No support system. Just me and 2 traumatized kids trying to survive in a strange place. For months into our new life, something happened that changed everything. I was at the clinic when a woman came in with her daughter. The girl, maybe 7 years old, had a bad cough. I examined her, diagnosed bronchitis, prescribed antibiotics. "Thank you so much," the mother said. "We're new to town, and I wasn't sure where to take her." "Where did you move from?" I asked, making small talk. "Oregon. My husband got a job at the lumber mill." "I'm Carla, by the way. Carla Jensen." We chatted for a few more minutes, and as she was leaving, she said, "You know, you seem really nice. If you're ever free, maybe we could get coffee sometime? I don't know anyone here, and it would be nice to have a friend." A friend. I hadn't had a friend since leaving Charlotte. Since leaving Rachel. "I'd like that," I said. And I meant it. Carla and I started meeting for coffee once a week. She was easy to talk to, funny, down to earth. Her daughter, Amy, became friends with Liam at school. I had to be careful. I couldn't tell her the truth about my past. But I could be myself in other ways. Talk about being a mom, about work stress, about adjusting to small-town life. For the first time in months, I felt a little less alone. But then, 6 months in, Carla said something that made my blood run cold. We were having coffee, talking about our kids, when she said, "You know, Emma reminds me of someone. I can't place it, but she looks so familiar. Like someone I've seen before." My heart stopped. "Really? Who?" "I don't know. Maybe she just has one of those faces." I forced a laugh. "Yeah, probably." But panic clawed at my chest. What if Carla figured it out? What if she'd seen a news story about Derek's arrest? What if she'd seen photos of me and the kids? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Carla's comment. The next morning, I Googled my real name. Lauren Palmer, Derek Palmer arrest. Pages of results came up. News articles. Photos. Video footage of the FBI raid on our house. And there, in multiple articles, were photos of me and the kids. Wife and children of accused drug trafficker Derek Palmer. Anyone who saw those photos could recognize us. I'd been careful. We'd moved far away, changed our names, changed our appearances slightly. Emma had cut her hair. Liam wore glasses now even though he didn't need them. I'd dyed my hair darker. But we still looked like ourselves. And if Carla had seen those articles, if she recognized us, I immediately called Agent Kim. "We might have a problem. A woman here says Emma looks familiar. What if she's seen the news coverage? What if she figures out who we are? Has she said anything specific?" "No, just that Emma looks familiar." That's not uncommon. People think they recognize strangers all the time. But monitor the situation. If she asks direct questions or seems suspicious, let me know immediately. For the next 2 weeks, I avoided Carla. Made excuses why I couldn't meet for coffee. Kept Emma and Liam away from her daughter. But in a town of 8,000 people, you can't avoid someone forever. One day, Carla showed up at the clinic. "Hey, I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. Is everything okay?" "Yeah, just busy." "Too busy for coffee?" "I'm sorry, Carla. Work has been crazy." She looked hurt. "Did I do something wrong?" "No, not at all. Because if I said something that offended you, you didn't. I promise. I've just been dealing with some personal stuff. Do you want to talk about it?" "Not really. But thank you." She left, and I felt terrible. She was genuinely nice, and I was pushing her away because I was paranoid. But I had to. I couldn't risk it. Around the 8-month mark, something happened that made me realize we couldn't keep living in fear. Emma came home from school crying. "What happened?" I asked. The kids at school were talking about their grandparents, about visiting them for Thanksgiving. And I said I don't have grandparents anymore, and they asked why, and I didn't know what to say. What did you tell them? I said they died. But then Olivia said, both sets? That's weird. And everyone was staring at me, and I didn't know what to say, so I ran to the bathroom. My heart broke. This was my fault. All of this was my fault. No, not my fault. Derek's fault. Emma, I'm so sorry. Why can't I talk to Grandma? Why can't I call her? I miss her so much. I know, baby. I miss her too. It's not fair. We didn't do anything wrong. Why are we being punished? She was right. We hadn't done anything wrong. But we were serving a life sentence anyway. That night, after the kids were asleep, I sat alone in the dark and cried. I cried for everything we'd lost. I cried for my kids, who'd never see their grandparents again. I cried for myself, for the life I'd built that was ripped away. And I cried for Derek, rotting in a federal prison, because even though I hated him, some part of me still mourned the man I thought he was. I called Agent Kim. I don't think I can do this anymore. Do what? This. Live like this. Pretend to be someone I'm not. Watch my kids suffer. I thought we could adjust, but we're not adjusting. We're barely surviving. It gets easier. I promise it does. When? It's been 8 months, and it's not easier. It's worse. You're still in the acute phase. Give it time. What if I can't? What if I break the rules? What if I contact my family? Then you're out of the program. And you're on your own. No protection, no support, no safety net. Is that what you want? No. But I don't want this either. I know this is hard. But you're doing it for your children. Focus on that. I hung up, feeling more hopeless than ever. But then something shifted. It happened gradually, so slowly I didn't notice at first. Emma made a friend at school. A girl named Zoe who was also new to town, also struggling to fit in. They bonded over that shared experience. Liam joined the school soccer team. He wasn't very good, but he loved it. He'd come home every day talking about practice, about his teammates, about the goals he'd almost scored. And I started to settle in. I got better at my job. The clinic staff became friendly. I started recognizing regulars around town, exchanging small talk at the grocery store, waving to neighbors. It wasn't home. It would never be home. But it was starting to feel like something. One day, about 10 months in, I was walking through town with Liam when he said, "Mom, do you think we'll ever go back to Charlotte?" "No, buddy. We won't." "Good. I like it here." I stopped walking. "You do?" "Yeah. I have friends. I like my teacher. And the mountains are cool." It was the first time either of my kids had said anything positive about Riverside. "What about Grandma and Grandpa? Don't you miss them?" "I do. But I don't know. I think they'd want me to be happy here. Don't you think?" He was 6 years old and somehow wiser than me. "Yeah, buddy. I think they would." That night, for the first time since we'd left Charlotte, I felt something other than despair. I felt hope. Maybe we couldn't go back. Maybe our old lives were gone forever. But maybe, just maybe, we could build something new. 1 year after entering witness protection, I received a call from Agent Kim. "I have news about your husband." My stomach dropped. "What kind of news?" "He's been sentenced. 12 years in federal prison. He'll be eligible for parole in 8. 12 years. It felt like both forever and not long enough. "How did he seem?" "I wasn't at the sentencing, but my colleagues said he looked broken. He gave a statement apologizing to you and the kids. Said he'd spend the rest of his life trying to make amends." "Did he ask about us?" "Yes. He wanted to know if you're safe." "I told him you are, but gave no details." "Can he contact us?" "Not while he's incarcerated. And after he's released, only if you agree to it." "I won't." "I understand." After I hung up, I told Emma and Liam that their dad had been sentenced. Emma's response: "Good. He deserves it." Liam's response: "Does that mean we're safe now?" "Yes, baby. We're safe." And for the first time, I actually believed it. 2 years into witness protection, something unexpected happened. I met someone. His name was Michael Bennett. He was a teacher at Emma and Liam's school, taught 5th grade, coached middle school basketball, and volunteered at the community center on weekends. We met at a parent-teacher conference for Emma. "Mrs. Thompson, Emma is doing remarkably well," he said, smiling warmly. "She struggled when she first arrived, but she's really come into her own. She's smart, creative, and a natural leader." I felt proud. "Emma, My angry, traumatized daughter who'd hated this place was thriving. Thank you. That means a lot. She mentioned she doesn't see her father. Is he, if you don't mind me asking? He passed away, I said, using the cover story. A few years ago. I'm so sorry. That must be incredibly difficult for all of you. It is. But we're managing. After that, I started seeing Michael around town more. At the grocery store, at the coffee shop, at school events. He always said hello. Always asked how the kids were doing. Always seemed genuinely interested. One day, he asked if I wanted to grab coffee. Just coffee, he said quickly. As friends. I know you've been through a lot, and I don't want to presume anything. But I think you're interesting, and I'd like to get to know you better. I said yes. We met at the local coffee shop on a Saturday morning. We talked for 3 hours. Michael was 38, divorced, no kids. He'd moved to Riverside 5 years ago for the teaching job and never left. He loved the mountains, loved the quiet pace of small-town life, loved working with kids. He was kind, funny, easy to talk to. And for the first time in 2 years, I felt like a person again. Not just a mom, not just a survivor, but an actual human being with interests and thoughts and a life beyond survival. Can I see you again? He asked as we were leaving. I wanted to say yes. But I couldn't. Because Michael didn't know who I really was. He thought I was Rachel Thompson, widow. He didn't know I was Lauren Palmer, wife of a convicted drug trafficker, living under witness protection. And I could never tell him. I don't think that's a good idea, I said. Can I ask why? I'm not ready. It's too soon. I understand. But if you ever change your mind, I'm here. Over the next few months, Michael didn't push. But he was always there. Friendly, supportive, present. And slowly, I started to let my guard down. We had coffee again. Then dinner. Then a walk through the mountains. He met Emma and Liam. They already knew him from school, of course, but they met him as someone I was spending time with. They liked him. Mr. Bennett is cool, Liam said one night. Are you dating him? We're just friends. You should date him. He's nice. Emma was less enthusiastic. What if he's like Dad? What if he seems nice but he's secretly bad? Not everyone is like your dad, sweetie. How do you know? I didn't have a good answer for that. 6 months into whatever Michael and I were doing, he said he loved me. We were sitting on his porch watching the sunset over the mountains. Emma and Liam were at a friend's house for a sleepover. I love you, Rachel, he said. I know it's soon, and I know you've been through hell, but I can't help it. I love you. I wanted to say it back. But I couldn't. Because he loved Rachel Thompson. Not Lauren Palmer. He loved a fiction. A cover story. I care about you, I said. A lot. But Michael, there are things about me you don't know. So tell me. I can't. Why not? Because if I do, everything changes. Try me. I looked at him. This good, kind man who'd brought light back into my life. And I made a decision. My name isn't Rachel. And my husband didn't die in a car accident. I'm in witness protection. The words hung in the air. Michael stared at me. What? My real name is Lauren Palmer. My husband, Derek, was arrested 2.5 years ago for drug trafficking and money laundering. He worked with a gang. When he cooperated with the FBI, we were placed in witness protection because our lives were in danger. So we came here to Montana and became different people. Rachel Thompson doesn't exist. She's just a name. A story. I'm Lauren. And Emma is Sophie. And Liam is Mason. Michael was silent for a long moment. Say something, I whispered. I don't know what to say. I understand if you don't want to see me anymore. If this is too much. Are you safe now? Are the kids safe? Yes. As far as we know. The gang members who were looking for us have been arrested or are lying low. But we can't go back. We can't use our real names. This is our life now. Michael stood up, paced the porch, ran his hands through his hair. This is a lot. I know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have told you. No. I'm glad you did. I just need to process it. We sat in uncomfortable silence. Then Michael said, Were you ever going to tell me? I don't know. Probably not. I'm not supposed to tell anyone. Ever. The rules of the program are clear. No one can know who we really are. But I couldn't keep lying to you. Not if we're going to be, whatever we are. What are we, Rachel? Or Lauren? I don't even know what to call you. Rachel is fine. That's who I am now. But you're not. You're Lauren pretending to be Rachel. Does it matter? I'm still me. My past is different, my name is different, but I'm still the same person you've been spending time with. How can I be sure? If you've been lying about this, what else are you lying about? That stung. But it was fair. I haven't lied about anything else. Everything I've told you about who I am, what I care about, how I feel, all of that is real. The only thing that's fake is my name and my backstory. Michael sat back down. I need time to think about this. I understand. He drove me home. We didn't talk the whole way. When we pulled up to my house, he said, I meant what I said. I love you, but I need to figure out if I can be in a relationship with someone who's living a lie. It's not a lie. It's survival. Maybe, but it's still not the truth. I got out of the car and watched him drive away. That night, I cried myself to sleep. Michael didn't call for 2 weeks. I thought it was over, that telling him the truth had destroyed whatever we had. But then, on a Tuesday evening, he showed up at my door. Can we talk? Of course. We sat on the porch. The kids were inside doing homework. I've been thinking about what you told me, Michael said. About your real identity, about witness protection, about everything. And I've made a decision. Okay, I don't care what your name is. I don't care who you used to be. I care about who you are now. And the woman I've gotten to know, whether she's Rachel or Lauren or anyone else, she's amazing. She's strong, resilient, kind, and she's been through hell and come out the other side. That's the person I love. I started crying. But, Michael continued, I need you to promise me something. No more secrets. If there's anything else I should know, you need to tell me now. Because I can't build a relationship on half-truths. There's nothing else. I've told you everything that matters. And the kids? Do they know I know? Not yet. But I'll tell them. If you're going to be in our lives, they deserve to know you know the truth. Michael reached for my hand. I want to be in your lives. All 3 of you. If you'll have me. Are you sure? This is complicated. We can never leave Montana. We can never use our real names publicly. If anyone finds out who we really are, I understand the risks. And I'm willing to take them. Why? Because you're worth it. That was 3 years ago. I'm writing this now from a place of relative peace. Michael and I got married 2 years ago. A small ceremony, just us, the kids, and a few close friends from Riverside. On the marriage certificate, I'm Rachel Marie Thompson. Lauren Palmer is gone. She died the day I entered witness protection. Emma, Sophie, is 14 now. She's doing well. She's on the honor roll, plays volleyball, has a close group of friends. She doesn't talk about Charlotte much anymore. Sometimes she gets sad when she thinks about her grandparents, but she's learned to live with the grief. Liam Mason is 11. He barely remembers our old life. Montana is home to him now. He loves hiking, skiing, and playing soccer. He calls Michael Dad, which breaks my heart and heals it at the same time. As for Derek, I haven't spoken to him since the day he was arrested. He's written letters, but I haven't opened them. Agent Kim says he's been a model prisoner, that he's expressed remorse, that he wants to see us when he gets out. But I won't let him. He made his choices, and we're living with the consequences. He doesn't get to come back into our lives and cause more damage. He'll be eligible for parole in 3 years. I've already told Agent Kim that if he's released, I want a restraining order. I want him nowhere near us. The kids have mixed feelings. Emma wants nothing to do with him. But sometimes Liam asks about him, wonders what he's like now, if he's changed. I tell him the truth, I don't know. And it doesn't matter. Derek Palmer is part of our past. Michael is our present and future. Looking back, I sometimes think about the moment I decided to hire a private investigator. If I hadn't done that, I might have never known about Derek's double life. I might have stayed married to him, oblivious, while he continued his criminal activities. We might have eventually been caught in a raid, or worse, hurt by the people he was working with. Or maybe Derek would have gotten away with it. Maybe he would have quietly laundered money for years, made his fortune, and we would have lived a comfortable life built on blood money and lies. I'll never know. What I do know is that hiring that investigator saved our lives. It destroyed them first, tore apart everything I thought was real, forced us into hiding, robbed my children of their grandparents and their identities. But it also saved us. Because we're safe now. We're together. And we're building something real. Not the fake perfection we had in Charlotte, where everything looked perfect on the outside, but was rotten underneath. But something genuine. Something honest. Something that's ours. Last year, my mother passed away. I found out from Agent Kim. My father had contacted the FBI to let them know. to ask if there was any way I could come to the funeral. The answer was no. I couldn't risk it. The Southside Kings leadership is mostly in prison, but there are still members out there. Still people who might recognize me. So I couldn't say goodbye to my mother. I couldn't attend her funeral. Couldn't hug my father. Couldn't grieve with my family. All I could do was sit alone in my bathroom and cry, while Michael held the kids downstairs and tried to explain why Mommy was so sad. That was the hardest day of my new life. Harder than the day we entered witness protection. Harder than saying goodbye to everyone I loved. Because when we left Charlotte, my mother was alive. I knew she was out there, even if I couldn't see her. I could imagine her going about her life, spending time with my sister and her kids, thinking about me. But now she's gone. And I never got to say goodbye. Agent Kim asked if I wanted her to pass along a message to my father. I said yes. Tell him I love him. Tell him I'm sorry I couldn't be there. Tell him I think about him every day. And tell him I'm okay. I'm actually okay. I don't know if that message brought him any comfort. But it was all I could give. This past summer, something happened that reminded me why we did this. Why we gave up everything. A man was arrested in Charlotte for attempted murder. He'd been hired by what remained of the Southside Kings to kill a federal witness. The witness survived. But it was a stark reminder that these people don't forget. They don't forgive. And if we'd stayed in Charlotte, if we'd used our real names, if anyone knew where to find us, that could have been us. Agent Kim called to make sure we were still following the rules. Still staying under the radar. Still safe. We are, I told her. We're being careful. Good. Because your husband's parole hearing is coming up. If he's released, there might be renewed interest in finding you. He won't be released, I said. He's only served 7 years of a 12-year sentence. True. But I wanted you to be aware. Just in case. After I hung up, I told Michael about the conversation. Do you think Derek would tell them where we are? He asked. No. Whatever else he is, he's not that. He wouldn't put the kids in danger. Are you sure? No. But I have to believe it. Because the alternative is too terrifying. 2 months ago, I got a letter. Not from Derek, from a lawyer representing him. The letter explained that Derek wanted to set up a trust fund for Emma and Liam. He'd been working in prison, saving money, and wanted to ensure our kids had something for college. He wants to help, the lawyer wrote. He knows he can't undo the damage he's caused, but he wants to do something positive. I didn't know how to feel about that. Part of me wanted to refuse. To tell Derek to keep his money, that we didn't need anything from him. But another part of me, the practical part, the part that still struggles to pay bills, knew that money could change my kids' lives. It could pay for college. It could give them opportunities one can't afford. I discussed it with Michael. It's your decision, he said. But if you ask me, I think you should take it. Not for Derek's sake. For Emma and Liam. They didn't ask for any of this. If he wants to help them, let him. I thought about it for a week. Then I wrote back to the lawyer. I'll accept the money on one condition. Derek doesn't get any information about the kids. He doesn't get updates, photos, or contact. The money goes into a trust that they can access when they turn 18, but Derek gets nothing in return. The lawyer agreed. So now Emma and Liam have college funds. Funded by their father's prison wages and whatever money he had left before his arrest. It's not much. Maybe $30,000 total. But it's something. And maybe in some small way, it's Derek trying to make amends for destroying our lives. I'm writing this now, 5 years after everything fell apart, because I want to remember. I want to remember who I was. Who I am. What I survived. Someday when Emma and Liam are older, I'll show them this. I'll tell them the full story. Not just the version we tell other people, but the real story. The truth about their father, about what happened, about why we had to run. And I'll tell them that sometimes the people you trust most are the ones who hurt you worst. But also that you can survive it. You can rebuild. You can find happiness again. It won't be the same happiness you had before. It won't be the life you planned. But it can still be good. I'm Rachel Thompson now. I'll be Rachel Thompson for the rest of my life. And that's okay. Because Rachel Thompson is safe. Rachel Thompson has a husband who loves her. Rachel Thompson has 2 beautiful kids who are thriving. Rachel Thompson has a life. It's not the life Lauren Palmer would have chosen. But it's the life we have. And we're making the most of it. If you're reading this and you're in a similar situation, if you suspect your partner is hiding something, if you're considering hiring an investigator, if you're facing impossible choices, I want you to know something. The truth will set you free. But first, it will destroy you. Everything I thought I knew was a lie. My marriage, my husband, my life, all of it was built on deception. And discovering that truth shattered me. But it also saved me. Because living a lie, even a comfortable lie, is not living. So yes, I lost everything. My name, my family, my home, my identity. But I gained something too. I gained the truth. I gained safety. I gained the chance to build something real. And in the end, that's worth more than anything Derek's lies ever gave me. To whoever is watching this at Story Matrix Hub, thank you for listening to my story. I hope it resonates with you. I hope it helps someone who's facing their own impossible situation. And I hope it reminds you that no matter how dark things get, no matter how lost you feel, you can survive. You can rebuild. You can find your way to the other side. It won't be easy. God knows it wasn't easy for me. But it's possible. And you're stronger than you think. This is Rachel Thompson, formerly Lauren Palmer, signing off. May you never need witness protection. But if you do, may you find the strength to survive it. If this story moved you, please hit that subscribe button for Story Matrix Hub and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below telling me what you thought. I read every single one. And remember, the truth might hurt, but lies hurt worse. Stay safe out there. Until next time.